All right, y'all, today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to see for its local search, see for its city search if either of them, any of them got BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that and, whatever, pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere on this, intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS, that's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search. And then over on the right, the lowest intent people, that's BLCS, that's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's where we're working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page. That's literally page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80%ers, the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers and everyone's got 1 link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, that's where it seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto-accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. For people to say, oh, I agree with that or disagree with that or I think it's true or false or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. That's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption or like default belief, default assumption is 100% incorrect, which we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1, probably also disappearing as well because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not saying that at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. We invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. We're liking the results so far, so we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S-cubed methodology, remember it's social search saturation, so we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our people searching for boudoir photo shoots will be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-cubed methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-cubed methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google, and let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down to slot like 301, and Google is 10 organic slots per page, so they got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once treated with S-cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0, 1 slots on page 1, and boudoir search for So we're actually standing out. Well, 0, 1. And we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, 1's most common, 2 is kind of rare. But if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this is our university disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Once we accept page 1 equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know of that can solve it is S-cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page 1 equality and market saturation. We achieve page 1 visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I want to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Hack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S-cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now the main event here, we're going to check out this boudoir photography business, check out its local search, city search, see if we got any BSS, see if we're in the GBC recommended minimums. All right, so we're going to Henderson, Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada. All right, let's see, Henderson, Nevada. All right, so let's see what we got. Nope. Nope. All right, we got 0 out of 10 for Henderson, Nevada, so we got BSS there. And now we're going to Las Vegas. All right, let's go. All right, so let's check this. All right, we got 1. There we go. Boom, we got 1. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. All right, so going back to our. All right, so local search Henderson. What's that? Is that part of Las Vegas? I believe that's my best guess. So we're at 0 out of 10 slots there. So we got BSS. We're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search. Las Vegas, we got 1 out of 10. So we still do have BSS with the search sameness. And we also are not meeting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've actually done your local searches, done your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you're seeing you had either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google search for any of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots for any of those searches, and you've accepted the fact that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and you actually see an S-cubed methodology is the only way forward, and you've actually been waiting for something like this. You're loving the initial benefits, more slots page 1 on Google. You're especially loving kicking competitors off page 1 on Google, reducing them, page 2 or deeper, where we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. So make them visible to essentially approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you're looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking a lot of people's jobs right now. It's going to take even more and more people's jobs in the future. The last time that happened, COVID, a ton of boudoir photographers entered the marketplace because everyone's got a super powered smartphone, got an awesome camera, and everyone still needs to earn money. So guess what? You already are anticipating a massive market saturation, already more than, kind of standard people upgrading their gear. So way more on top of that. And you realize, man, you actually got to fortify your position on page one Google search. You need to have actually so many links that Google could rank page one in Google search that it runs out of slots. And then you start filling up page 2, 3, 4. Basically fortify your position so much that no current boudoir photographer can ever rank on page one again, nor could any future boudoir photographer that comes in because AI took their job ever has the chance to rank again. And so you're saying, man, how to get all those links kind of circulating. And you're saying, again, S cubed methodology is the only methodology that enables that. You're also like in that, kind of the way this technology works is we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns around our brand, basically plug into our brand for the different keywords we're utilizing and ranking for, that every day we successfully execute S cubed methodology, we're actually increasing the probability to be shown up here way at the top, AI overview. The most premium placement is an organic placement. We can now buy this, we can now pay for this with ads. So increasing the probability of being here every day, the most premium placement on the page. There's some people that will just come here, click and buy from this person. We're also increasing the probability every single day that AI, search apps recommend us as well. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. Every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're increasing probably these guys recommend us for their, basically in their search. And last time I searched for boudoir photographer in a city, I actually, ChatGPT, I did with ChatGPT, it recommended me 3 peeps. And then went and looked manually, Google search, manual Facebook search. And dude, there's like 60 boudoir photographers in a city. So I'm like, man, we got to find a way to get one of these 3, AI recommended slots in the AI search apps ASAP. And you're saying ASCII methodology is the only solution that can give you that benefit as well. And you're seeing that the kind of showing up on all these surfaces over time, social search, Google search, and these invisible thematic keywords attached to us. We're actually building our brand at an estimated 8x rate, kind of fast tracking us getting a large, well-known brand in our city so that market saturation affects us way less. You also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you can actually get all these benefits, build all this AI mindshare momentum in the back end keywords, these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to your brand, kind of your social handles, your name, your website name, and prevent your competitors from participating, getting any of these benefits at all. So build up basically like a massive gap that approximately no competitor currently or in the future will ever be able to overcome. So you decide to be a first mover advantage and hop on this first because you understand the converse, which is one of your boudoir photographer competitors in your city signing on with me first. They get all these benefits, more slots page one on Google, kicking people like you off page one of Google off to page 2, 3, 4, or even deeper, fortifying their position. So basically none of their competitors, including you, basically ever have a chance to rank page one on Google. Build up such a massive backend AI keyword mindshare so that the no competitors, including you, basically have ever a chance to catch up with them, being recommended for AI overview and recommended in AI search, and building up their brand so much faster, approximately 8x faster than any other strategy. And you're realizing to compete in that scenario, you would actually have to rederive SQ methodology for yourself on your own. You would never actually be 100% confident you successfully derived it. And then you'd have to go and successfully equal our daily execution of that methodology. And if you did all that, you would simply be maintaining the current gap me and your competitor have already achieved ahead of you. So to make inroads, kind of make some distance on that gap, close that gap, you'd actually have to double or triple our output every single day. And then if you did that, you actually wouldn't even be confident to put in that much time because again, you would never be 100% confident you've derived the methodology correctly in the first place. And then even if you did, who's got 80 hours to do all that? So you realize on all that, and you're like, screw that. You decide to be the first mover, sign on first, get this out of the way, make sure you don't miss out on this opportunity. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when the hospital does open for new patients, shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.